Welcome once again to Real Shame, a show where we talk about our list of movie blind spots. My name is Andy.
And I'm Adam.
And on Monday's episode, we talked about a movie that neither one of us have seen called Down and Out in Beverly Hills from 1986, starring Richard Dreyfuss and Mr. Nick Nolte as the vagrant, I guess, Jerry Baskin. Is that his name?
Jerry Baskins.
Who tries to commit suicide or tries to drown himself in Richard Dreyfuss's pool. This was a comedy directed by Paul Mazursky, adapted kind of loosely as a remake of the movie we're going to talk about today, which is
Boudu Saved from Drowning. Let's get into that.
Yeah.
All right. A bookseller, Edouard, discovers a man named Boudu trying to drown himself in the river outside. And Boudu saved from drowning.
Attends une seconde. Oh, celui-là, par exemple. Oh, ce qu'il est beau. Oh, j'ai jamais vu un clochard aussi réussi. Mais qu'est-ce... Mais il est fou, mais...
Mais qu'est-ce qu'il a?
Un fou. Un fou.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Il y en a du monde. Oh! Un accident!
This came out in 1932. It is directed by one Jean Renoir.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yes. It's also written by him and written also by Albert Valentin. I'm sure it's better than that in French. This is based off of play that was written by René Francois, or no, how do you say it?
Fauchois.
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 His play came out in 1919. And it's called, can you say it in French?
Boudu Saved des eaux. Boudu Saved from the waters, basically.
Yeah. This is why you have to have this guy next to you.
I don't speak French. Not well, anyway.
He does better than me. So yeah, I wanted to pair this movie with it because it was a remake. It's a movie that we both haven't seen, but it's your week. So did you know anything about this movie going into it? And how do you think it compared to the remake? And what do you think about this movie overall?
All right, this is a tough one for me, I think, because, I mean, I was aware of this movie. I was aware that Down and Out in Beverly Hills was a remake of this film. I have, never seen Boudu Saved from Drowning. I have seen at least 2 or 3 films that were done by Jean Renoir. I've seen he's done a lot of well-known films, I would say, but his probably arguably, I'll say arguably, because I'm sure some people will watch this and go, what? But I would say arguably his 2 most famous films are The Rules of the Game and The Grand Illusion. I have seen Grand Illusion. I saw it, once again, I think that's one of those movies I saw in the Paramount Theater in Austin when they do their kind of classic film series. I don't think I've ever seen The Rules of the Game. But, it's Criterion Collection. It's readily available on Blu-ray and whatnot, Criterion Channel. I've always been meaning to, and maybe we'll do it one day on the show. But Grand Illusion, I've seen one other film by Jean Renoir, but I'm just not super familiar with his work or his style. I know he is considered one of the greatest film directors of all time. I think Orson Welles considers him the absolute greatest film director of all time. Going into this movie, because I watched it after Down and Out in Beverly Hills, I was expecting to see some of the same kind of stuff. I was hoping it would be funnier than Down and Out in Beverly Hills because it is also a comedy.
Is it a comedy?
Yeah. I mean, well, I obviously the actor that plays Boudu, Michel Simon, is very cantankerous and obnoxious and broad and just kind of gross and uncouth, and I think that's all supposed to be funny. But once again, I didn't find the movie very funny. the movie's also from the 1930s, so I don't expect it to be some crazy 80s comedy like,
Yeah.
I was going to say like Down and Out in Beverly Hills, but Down and Out in Beverly Hills didn't make either one of us really laugh. I thought the movie itself was okay, and I'm sure people are going to be like, okay, what? But I just wasn't that engaged with it, I guess. I've seen, plenty of old films. I've seen plenty of films in black and white. I've seen plenty of
More
films
ones than I've seen.
from the the teens, the 20s, the 30s, and onward. So it's not like I'm unaccustomed to watching an older film. And maybe it's because it's a French film, and maybe because I know the copy that you and I watched, some of the subtitles were a little wonky, so we didn't always get what was going on. But because this movie's not on Blu-ray in the States, it is on Blu-ray in other countries. Same thing. Down and Out in Beverly Hills is actually not on Blu-ray anywhere in the world, but I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. But you can find this movie on Blu-ray, and I know the DVD at least is put out by Criterion. But as I was watching it, I kept waiting for, I don't know, just more comedy, more something. I think it's really well photographed.
Yeah.
And I think it looks cool because a lot of times when you think of movies, especially from the early days of cinema, from the 20s and even the 30s, they're very stagey and stodgy, and there's just the camera kind of sitting there. This camera moves pretty freely. I know they film out on the streets, and that you see a lot of nature, especially towards the end when they're kind of on the river and all that stuff. And that stuff looks really cool. I think Michel Simon, who plays Boudu, does a good job. He's comparable to Nick Nolte. They both do good jobs in their respective roles. But ultimately, I guess this film just kind of left me cold. I think that it was watchable. I get kind of the satire. I get, that once again, this is a family minus the kids that were in Down and Out in Beverly Hills, but this is a guy who's in this case a bookseller, and Down and Out in Beverly Hills he's a coat hanger salesman. But he sees a man drowning in the Seine River across the street from where his bookshop, where he lives too. He goes just on a whim and dives in and saves him. And just like Richard Dreyfuss in Down and Out in Beverly Hills, it's kind of the chance for him to shake things up. He saved this guy. What are his reasons? Is he altruistic? Who really knows? I mean, maybe kind of, but also he kind of wants some recognition. And at some point in the movie, they talk about giving him like a civil servant medal or something like that. The guy's Baudu's kind of seduction of the wife is, to me, a bit abrupt in this movie. But again, maybe that's just different cultures or something. I don't know. Obviously they can't. It's the 1930s, so they just kind of cut the camera pans to just a painting or a picture on the wall.
Yeah, the way it's cut seems very like, is she consenting to it?
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but I'm sure it's them getting around the culture and them that time, right? Because that was a very weird. The way those shots kind of played out, I was like, whoa.
Well, and once again, I mean, it's the same story. She is kind of frozen out by her husband, who's only interested in the maid. He never sleeps with her anymore. He never shows her any attention. So she's finally getting some attention, even if it is coming from this crass, kind of gross guy who spits on the floor and wipes his shoes on the bedspread and all that stuff. So I would say I probably need to see the movie again at some point, and I probably need to see it with better subtitles or maybe more accurate subtitles. Or something like that, because I don't know that I appreciated it maybe as much as I should. The most I got out of it was it's somewhat amusing, beautifully kind of photographed, but it just kind of left me cold.
All right.
Sorry, don't hang me for my opinion.
They're going to stuff rocks in your pocket and throw you in the room.
Oh, I hope not. What about you?
Yeah, I think I was a little bit warmer to this movie than you were, but I meant ultimately, it's not a movie that I'm probably going to revisit or really care to revisit. During the watch of this, I did do a little bit of, it's interesting seeing how the two movies align and where they don't align and all that kind of stuff. So I know when we were talking about Blood Simple, that was bothersome for me for those movies, but for this movie, I kind of enjoyed that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe different viewings. Who knows? Maybe it's just because of the source material and all that kind of stuff. The movie is just kind of strange. I like that I think it's a comedy, but I think maybe it's like a black comedy or like more of a. It felt more like a drama to me, and I like that it was just played a little bit different, and it wasn't just trying to be super elevated, super outrageous. I do know that basically the French audiences were, according to IMDb, outraged by his antisocial behavior and stuff like that. To the according to IMDb, to the extent that police had to be called to several theaters to kind of restore order and stuff like that. And he's very polarizing. So I like that he's kind of more antisocial, more mean-spirited, more off-putting, and stuff like that. And I like that. Although, again, in the end, it's just kind of like, why does the maid fall for him? Why does Chloe, I think it's Chloe, right? Fall for him, and why are they going to get married? Like, all that stuff just seems tacked on again. It seems less Hollywoodified than we got with Down Beverly Hills, but again, just seemed kind of random and not where it was going. And then he basically like disappears at the end. Like the boat tips over, and he just takes it as a cue to kind of go back and be a vagrant and just kind of like leaves, which is, obviously we see an echo of that in Down Beverly Hills, but it's that seemed a little like not part unearned and didn't seem cohesive with the story. You were going to say something.
Oh, I was just going to say, well, you could see when they're going in the boat, he's kind of you can see his discomfort, and because he's all dressed up and he's like, oh, what am I doing? And so he sees, I guess it's like a lily pad or something in the water, and kind of reaches for it and tumps the boat over. They all come out, which I found it interesting. None of them swim back towards the boat. They just all start swimming away. But he just floats carefree. Yeah. He's back to his lifestyle, and I think he's just like, I don't fit in with those people. And he did come into 100,000 francs. Yeah. I was going to look up, like, what would that be nowadays. I didn't, but unfortunately, maybe somebody can comment and say. But he just floats kind of carefree. He finds a scarecrow that takes its clothes and wanders off down his merry way. He's like, you know what? Enough of me, which is obviously different than Down in Beverly Hills. He's like, oh, no, I don't want to live like this anymore. I want to go back to the family that's treated me so well. And yeah, he is, Boudu in this movie is, the characterization is different. That Nick Nolte in the Down and Out Beverly Hills film is, I would say, more just kind of go with the flow, not as obnoxious and or brisk and, all that kind of stuff. And I know Bette Midler hates him from the beginning just because it upsets her lifestyle. Yeah. And Richard Dreyfuss just kind of wants a friend. In this film, he's very crass. He's like, nah, give me that. Oh, I want this food. I need this.
Purposefully making messes and stuff. Yeah. Which I feel like that's supposed to be more like the silent film kind of like, someone like, like I think like a Chaplin or like, where they're kind of like really exaggerating everything like that. But I don't think it plays as funny as like a Chaplin or like, of that ilk, like does that make sense at all? Yeah. Like Marx Brothers, it doesn't play that big. It plays more mean and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, I'm gonna.
He has not at all. He has a gravelly voice, and he never he shaves a little bit, but he never quite cleans up like Nick Nolte. It's like night and day. You're like, hey, Nick Nolte doesn't look so bad once he cleans up. But in this movie, he kind of looks the same throughout, which it's just kind of funny. Yep.
The other thing I have on here is, two things. One is there's a lot of metaphors for genitalia, musical instrument metaphors. It was like, okay, it's a choice. Maybe it's a French thing. Who knows? And the other thing is it's included on the 1,001 movies you must see before you die list. So we can cross that off the list. Yeah. Now we have 1,000 or less.
Hopefully less, but you never know.
So yeah, I'm with you. I don't get the magic of it. Maybe it needs another viewing when I know what I'm getting into and all that kind of stuff. But I'm with you.
Yeah, and one thing we didn't mention is if the name Renoir sounds familiar, it's because Jean Renoir is the son of the famous painter Pierre-Auguste Renoir. Huh? So, yeah.
I did not put that together.
Talent runs in the family. Yeah, he's Jean Renoir ended up being a filmmaker. I mean, I don't know if he painted as well, but he's not a famous painter like his father, but he is a very famous filmmaker.
So, where are the critics with this bad Mamma Jamma?
100% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, 82% audience score, no Siskel and Ebert review, but Leonard Maltin gives it 3 stars. Yeah.
So I feel like Leonard Maltin's kind of with us a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would never say this is a bad film at all. I feel like I don't know if I was missing something or if I need to see it again. I did like the look of it and other things about it, but I just wasn't blown away by this film.
All right. Well, anything else?
Nope.
On our Wednesday episodes, we always like to answer viewers' questions, and we picked one today that is on topic with the movie we reviewed on Monday, and we're going to basically maybe go through Richard Dreyfuss's kind of movies he's acted in and talk about which ones we like, maybe which ones we don't like, maybe which ones we shouldn't like, and all that kind of stuff.
I think we'll skip the obvious winners maybe, or the ones that the ones that were really really high on. So we reviewed Moon Over Parador,
We did.
which I wasn't a huge fan of. I think you liked it a little bit more than me. And then we reviewed Stakeout and Another Stakeout, which are funny.
Stakeout was really good. Another Stakeout was too much Rosie O'Donnell, right, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, whole lot of Rosie. What About Bob with Bill Murray is kind of a classic comedy.
I haven't seen that in so long. I
I
barely
haven't
remember it.
I haven't either.
Of course, like Jaws is probably like you have to exclude, like you said, exclude it from the list because it's so good. I remember liking Krippendorf's Tribe. I have not seen it since it came out in theaters. I saw it in theaters back in, what was it, 97s when it came out?
I don't remember exactly.
I
Sometime
believe
in
it
the
was
90s.
like 97. So I don't know if that movie, if I should like that movie. I don't know if it's appropriate anymore, but it's been ages since I've seen that.
So everything that he's done, essentially since like Mr. Holland's Opus, I either have not seen or it's entirely okay. Krippendorf's Tribe is 1998.
98.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Besides that, The Crew is kind of fun from 2000. Where
Never even heard of it.
Yeah. Well, it's him and a bunch of other old guys.
Okay.
They're criminal guys.
Blues Brothering it up.
Yeah, Burt Reynolds. But yeah, since The Crew, looking through his filmography, I'm like, yep, never seen it. I know it's not helpful. I think you watched Poseidon not too long ago.
Yeah, Poseidon is just...
That's more of an ensemble cast kind of thing. But yeah, no, as far as his movies go, I think, you got to go with Jaws or maybe Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I'm not a fan of Close Encounters.
I am. So I would say, I'm going to pick Jaws. Jaws to me is the best Richard Dreyfuss film. I love American Graffiti. I love Close Encounters of the Third Kind. But Jaws is going to be the clear winner as far as Richard Dreyfuss's filmography goes, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I remember liking Mr. Holland's Opus back in the day. I think I told you this. Maybe I told the podcast this. I had a guitar teacher that was very upset with that movie and the fact that it was like a contemporary music when it's all that kind of jazz. He was very
strong feelings.
Strong feelings. Very bristled about that.
Stronger feelings than I ever had about Mr. Holland's Opus.
Yeah.
So I remember liking it back in the day, but that's one that I haven't seen in so long. So that's another movie.
I think there's like some blowback now with it and stuff like that.
Is there?
Yeah.
Well, it does not have a Region A Blu-ray release, but I know it is released, I think in Australia maybe on Blu-ray, because I think I have that copy, maybe something like that, or at least I've seen it.
And I think where it stands now with culture is people aren't really happy with his son, the portrayal of his son,
I see.
Cole, and his he's deaf. Right?
Yeah,
he has a hearing disability.
I see.
I think is the correct way to say it. So that I don't think that stands up to modern scrutiny and how we look at it nowadays and stuff like that.
Well, now that makes me want to go back and watch it and see what all the fuss is about.
All right. Well, that is everything you wanted to know about Richard Dreyfuss. It was a really short question and answer, but again,
he's really short.
Yeah. Okay. I can't wait for him to stand on an Apple box and leave us a comment. But he kind of, I don't want to say he peaked early, but he front loaded his career with a lot of good movies, and unfortunately, those are hard to overlook, I would say. Let us know what your favorite Richard Dreyfuss movie is. Maybe it's The Crew. Maybe we should watch that again.
It's good.
With Blues Brothers for some reason. And let us know. If you're watching us on YouTube, leave us a comment below. If you're listening to us, shoot us an email. Our email address is realshame@gmail.com. We also are on social media. We're at Real Shame. Again, my nose itches. Excuse me. We're at Real Shame on Instagram. I try to post there. I'm not very good about it. Don't at me. Like, subscribe, share the show, do all that social media stuff. It really does help spread the word, and we really do appreciate that. And stay tuned next week when we start our month of October again. We start doing horror movies. That means more episodes, more horror for you. We're gonna blow it out again this year.
And the horror is having to look at us.
Yeah. We're gonna wear less makeup.
Okay.
Not that we wear any makeup.
Speak for yourself, buddy.
So stay tuned for that. Our first week is going to be Blumhouse movies, which will be kind of fun. And we'll see you soon, guys. Have a good one. Bye.